So we're going to dive in today. We're talking about this whole idea of why is Valentine's Day the Super Bowl of marriage ministry. But as people are joining us, we've got a couple of would you rather questions, getting everybody on board here. Those would you rather questions. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Would you rather, and you can do this in the little chat feature there, would you rather reverse one decision a day or be able to stop time for 10 seconds a day? You could reverse one decision a day or stop time for 10 seconds a day. That's easy for me. So what would you say? Come on, chat it up, people. What would you rather do? The next one, would you rather run 100 miles per hour or fly 10 miles per hour? Would you rather run 100 miles per hour? Robert, what would you? Fly. Yeah, me too. Fly for sure. 10 miles an hour, that's about the right speed for flying. If you had a bird, you could survive a 10-mile average collision. I love this one. Would you rather be able to speak all languages or be able to speak to all animals? Robert, what would you? All languages or speak to all animals?
Probably languages.
Languages. I kind of want to talk to fish. I want to know what they're thinking. And then, would you rather live at an amusement park or a zoo? Live at an amusement park or a zoo? All right. What are our chatters saying here? Let's see. Anyway, well, we're glad you're here. We'll go ahead and dive into this thing. I used to not have a lot of opinions. That's never been the case. I used to not have a lot of opinions when it came to dates on calendars for churches, because I always feel like nobody understands your calendar or your community or how things are happening, especially around dates, than you do. But one thing I've seen kind of universal, at least in the United States and Canada, is that Valentine's Day is a big day, and it's a good day for churches to leverage to help married couples. In fact, I believe it's the Super Bowl of marriage ministry, and here's why. So I found all this fascinating. So you guys just ride with me. I get a little geeked out about all this stuff, but when you start thinking about Valentine's Day, 55% of the U.S. population will celebrate Valentine's Day. 55%. When's the last time we united that much of this country over anything? Did you know 75% of 18 to 34-year-olds will celebrate Valentine's Day? So that's 3/4 of 18 to 34-year-olds. Watch this number. We're going to spend in this country in February $19.6 billion to celebrate Valentine's Day. 19.6 billion. 12.1 billion is going to be people spending it on their significant other. So it's a love relationship there. And this is the number I couldn't believe, and it made me feel incredibly cheap, that on average that we're going to spend $143 a piece on Valentine's Day. Now, it happened at my house, but hey, it must be happening in a lot of people's house. But check this out. 25 to 34-year-olds are spending $202 on Valentine's Day. That's just crazy. And here's the thing that happens that's kind of blowing me away. It's going to hopefully get us in there to our time together, start thinking about how marriage ministry is Super Bowl Valentine's Day, Super Bowl of marriage ministry is 44% of 24 to 35-year-olds are planning to experience something together. So almost half of 18 to 34-year-olds said, we want to do something together. We want to hang out, but we want to experience something. And $13.7 billion of all this money is going to be spent on an evening out together. And here's the thing that I thought made so much sense is 42% of people are looking for experiences to give away for Valentine's Day, but only 25% will actually give one. And what that means is a lot of people are looking to do something experiential, but they can't find one. And the great thing, I think, with this momentum of watching how millennials are way more experiential than any generation before them, I love that because the research is in on that too, that experiences are so much better relationally than stuff. And I think we shouldn't be surprised by that, but it is becoming hugely aware as millennials are kind of modeling the way. I mean, I know we slam on millennials about so many things. I think they're showing us up, as Gen Xers and Boomers to say, hey, this experience thing is working. They did this study about the difference between buying the right gift or having an experience, and this is fascinating. And it says, despite gift givers' tendencies to give material possessions, material gifts turn out to do little to foster the relationship between the gift givers and the gift recipients. It doesn't matter how great the gift is, doesn't matter how much they love the gift. It does very little to connect people long term. But it says experiential gifts, in contrast, make recipients feel closer to the person who gave them the gift. Experiential gifts have this consuming effect because of the emotions that evoke when they are consumed. You think about experiences, and one thing, we tend to look back on them more fondly than they were. I mean, we just got back from Disney, and I look back at Disney, and I just think of all the fun rides and hanging out, being a family and laughing and eating $14 ice cream sandwiches. But at the end of the day, I don't remember, the 8-hour car trip down or the hour and a half in line to ride Space Mountain. I remember those times because experiences, we tend to look back at them fondly, and experiences blend us together. And again, millennials are leading the way on this. And here's why. I thought this was fascinating. It says, time costs are apparent to a generation of entrepreneurs. In other words, the new generation of millennials, they're a bunch of entrepreneurs, and they have this better value of how much time, how much money I'm actually going to make spending this time. And this one lady said her husband was an Uber driver, and she said, I'd rather be with him for 5 hours than it would take him to make enough money to buy me a necklace. In other words, he could go drive 5 hours, and make enough money to buy me, something from Jared. Or she said, I'd rather Jared keep the necklace and I get to spend 5 hours with him, which relationally is better for the relationships. And so millennials are also seeing that they crave excitement and not ownership. Home ownership is going down with millennials. They think, hey, we don't need these big homes that mom and dad have. We want to spend time with each other. All that to say is Valentine's Day is a huge industry. It is a time where people are stopping, even people that are strained in their marriage, and saying, I need to pause and think about this relationship. It's almost required by Hallmark law that we do this. And a lot of people say, hey, I hate that. It feels manufactured. We should love every day. And all these things are absolutely true. But instead of us saying that that's wrong, what if we leveraged it? What if we leveraged the fact that people are saying we're going to do something for Valentine's Day? We kind of have to, and a lot of people actually want to. But what if we leverage this industry that's spending all this money, regardless of where people are in their relationship? What if we at the church said we're going to create experiences for married couples that when they go looking for it, that they find it at our church? We can leverage Valentine's Day to be the Super Bowl of marriage ministry. And the church can give couples what they're looking for, which is experiences with each other. And married experiences at church can matter a lot to that couple, but it's bigger than that. It's bigger what can happen. Here's a few things. Married couples, this helps married couples reconnect. How many times do you talk to couples, and I don't know, if you're in ministry as long as I have, you feel like you don't talk to somebody until their marriage is falling apart. So, and we think, how if they had just done little things along the way, if they'd stayed connected along the way, and that's what these kind of things do, is they allow people to reconnect that feel a little disconnected. It can also create an environment where they can connect with other couples in their same life stage, and even older and younger, that you get them all together. And that's really a neat thing, because a lot of times, I don't know about you, but on Sunday morning, I feel like we're in and we're out. You don't spend a lot of time talking to people. So this gives people an opportunity to do this. Here's one of the biggest things. It creates opportunities for non-believers to come into your church. This is something statistically that we're finding. Christianity Today did this huge report on it. We've seen all this, that events have this great evangelistic tool, because I think it's 56% of people said they want to reconnect to church, but they wanted a different way in. Like, I don't want to go through Sunday morning. There needs to be a different way. And so if we create these different ways, we create these experiences, it's so powerful for not just the couple, but for the church. It allows us to rebrand marriage ministry and marriage. Marriage ministry, about 10 years came out that it was boring, preachy, outdated, and feminine. That's what the study showed. And I think we've made a lot of progress over the years. So this gives us a new chance to invite people to our church and them to see that we're not going to beat them over the head, that we're not going to beat up men for not being women, that it's not going to look like a Valentine's Day banquet, that it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to laugh a lot, and we're going to not give them too much content, but we're going to give them something that's powerful. And not only that, we're going to give them next steps on how to do that. It gives us an opportunity also at these experiences to let them people know, hey, we don't just do one thing for your marriage. We have a strategy for your marriage. We have things at this church going on all the time with people that care about you, but we also have resources to keep you connected. And the thing I get the most excited about is it allows us to paint a picture of God's way of marriage. And God's way of marriage, it's so different and counter to the world. And I don't want to be that guy. People today, it's not that. It's God's picture of marriage. It's just a beautiful thing. The way we're asked to sacrifice and put each other ahead of each other, the way we're said to enjoy each other and to delight in each other. It's just different than the world. And marriage is supposed to reflect the relationship between Christ and the church. In other words, when we do marriage ministry right, when the married couples in your church do right, it draws people to your church, and it also draws people to Christ. Because ultimately, we're not here to hey, we want to compete with, the movie industry, or we want to compete with any industry. We're wanting to show to them that there's a different way to do life and to do marriage, and there's hope in that. And what ends up happening, because a lot of people care more about they care about their marriage. They may not care that much about church or even their faith, but Pew Research says that millennials' number one goal and number two goal is, one, to be a great parent. Number two is to have a great marriage. And so if we can relate to them on that level, then it trumps all the hesitancies or the things that they don't like about church, and says, hey, if you're going to help me with my marriage, I'm in. And if you do it in a really good way, compelling, helpful way, I'm really in. Because when your marriage is better, everything's better. And when your marriage is not working, most things aren't working. So we as a church get to do that. And so what I'm saying is, we take Valentine's Day and we wave the flag. We start waving the flag that we do marriage ministry different, that we create these great experiences for you, that we have all these different environments for you, and really, really starts to connect people with each other, your church, and ultimately Jesus. So what kind of experiences are we talking about? Robert, we're not going to be able to do any kind of slides right now, right? I don't think so.
You want to try it out?
Well, you know what? We may be able to do slides. Watch this trick. I'm going to go to right here, right, Robert?
Next one.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I'm going to go to here because I've got some fun stuff to show you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, click on it.
All right.
Click start.
We're going to get it. Nope. Okay. That's all right.
Just hit stop. Yep.
Yep. All right. Anyway, we'll get to try that next time. I would just start thinking, how would make it the Super Bowl? I think this is one of those times that you want to think about, what can we do with the masses? And for you, the masses may be 50 people. For you, the masses may be, 15,000 people. So how do we leverage these environments, the bigger environments? And those are so important because they do a couple of things. One, you get lots of people in the room, so you get to cast vision for lots of things. A couple of ways we do that is, if your pastor will let you and is up for it, how do you leverage Sunday morning to talk about marriage and about Valentine's Day and the need to connect? You can do that on Sunday morning. You can do it at retreats. One of the ways we love the most here, and one of the things we create a lot of resources around are one-night events, is that you create these great one-night events. And this is why Valentine's Day is important, is you can schedule it on or before Valentine's Day. This year, Valentine's Day is on a Thursday. We've actually found churches here in the Atlanta area who have had tremendous success having events on Thursday night, even when it wasn't Valentine's Day night. And I said, what is going on? They said, well, we would rather miss one of our kids' practice than their game on Saturday. So I don't know what the dynamic there is, but if you could think about what works best for your church, either on Valentine's Day or before, because if you do it after, the guys don't get the credit. And speaking of guys, this is when you really let guys know, hey guys, we got your back. And you even say that from up front. You say, hey guys, you maybe wonder, what in the world am I going to do for Valentine's Day? You know, I get chocolate and candy, but you know, I don't think that ever works. You want to do something special? Oh, I got your back. We've got you covered. We're going to have a one-night event coming up February 14th or whatever your date is, February 14th, and we're going to laugh, and we're not going to make people share their issues. I mean, you got to tell them what it's going to be, because what they're thinking it's going to be is it's going to be schmarmy, cheesy, too much content, and only for women. So you get to say, hey, this is for you, and you have to say, hey, this isn't just for couples in crisis. This is for everybody. This is for all of us. You know, we want you to come, and we're going to laugh, and we're going to have a really good time. And if you go on our Facebook leaders page, which I think you had to join to be able to do this webinar, is that right? No. We've got a Facebook leaders page, Married People Leaders. If you'll go on there, we've got over 2,000 leaders. And what you guys do is encourage all of us is to get really, really, really creative. We create all the resources for you to be able to pull off everything I'm talking about today. But what you guys do is you take it and you customize it and you take it to the next level. So on the Married People Facebook Leaders page, you're going to find all these different great examples of how to do everything I'm talking about. You're going to see images of couples in large environments sitting around tables that have been decorated in a really cool, non-feminine way, or at least in a way that appeals to both men and women. You're going to see people on stage laughing and having fun. Sometimes you're going to see a live communicator. Other times you're going to see one of our video communicators up there that allows you to just push play on a communicator and you just build all the other pieces around it. But it is so fun watching you guys do that, and you've just knocked it out of the park. One of our leaders I talked to today actually was telling me how telling all the people on the leaders page how he had customized it to make it work. And I was like, way to go, that's awesome. He said, well, I was a little hesitant to post it because I didn't want people to think, hey, I tweaked the program. Listen, guys, we create a strategy, yes. We create the resources to empower that strategy, yes. But every bit of it is designed for you to make it your own. And I'll say to this as I've been praying for you, I feel like the Lord, is really impressed in my heart. Tell them to trust themselves because they know their people, they know what they're doing. So trust yourselves, but think about how do you leverage Valentine's Day? Once again, that can be on Sunday morning, it could be in a retreat, or it can be in a one-night event that's lots and lots of fun. The second thing, that way you can do this is empowering couples to do date nights. Now, this is something that you guys have done. Again, Facebook leaders have done a great job. Each year we create 4 dates that are in a PDF that get folded for people to be able to put in their pocket so that, they don't have to be on their phones. But what you guys are doing, you're taking those PDFs and you're putting in different packaging, from date night bags to Nate from Piedmont Church here in Marietta did a great job. He took his and put them in a Chinese takeout box, which was a lot of fun. It was just a red box with a sticker on it. Put the date down in there. Just classy looking. It was cool. It was fun. It was something different. There's something about having something physical. And you guys are taking these dates and are just having so much fun with them. And this year, our games are called our dates are called Game Changers. So we got 4 dates this year that are a lot of fun. And so you can make those great. We've watched those of you, Archie Rich, if you're watching, he did a great 80s date night, and his promotion was a Tab soda. Some of you do not know what a Tab soda is. It was the first diet drink that was ever created, way before Diet Coke. It tastes terrible, but it screams 80s. And so it's those people like Archie are taking what we're doing and just taking it so far above and beyond and making it their own and making it creative. But there's something about when you help a couple to connect and to laugh. If you were to say to them, hey, this Valentine's Day, we want to send you out on a date, and then we're going to send you on 3 more this year because we want Valentine's Day to last all year long. So you start speaking this language into them. You become known as a much better Hallmark store for Valentine's Day by creating experiences. And with the date nights and even with the large events, if you can provide childcare, that is so, so huge. Childcare is the absolute deal killer for so many couples. It's expensive. I mean, we have 3 kids. Our kids are older now, but I can remember if we'd go on a date night, it would be another 40, $50 just to get childcare. So I know not all of you can do that, but if you can figure that out, or you can help them get creative to do it, it's so powerful to help those dates to happen. A couple different ways churches deliver those dates. Some will, this is my favorite, this is ideal, and you can work backwards from here, is you say, come pick up your date night packet at the church, and you're going to drop off your kids. We're going to keep them for X amount of time. You hand them the date packet, and they're on. Off they go, which means the dates we create are very much, you don't need a lot of prep before them at all. They've got step by step. Once they get the pack, they're good to go. You provide childcare there. Second, maybe say, hey, we can't provide childcare, but we can give them out at a certain time. You can give them out on Sunday mornings. You can give them out at different times. The only thing about doing Sunday mornings is a lot of times if people don't have date night or they don't have a set time to do this, they will actually, just throw it into the back of their car. And it just goes into the back seat in the land of, oh, that was a good idea, but we couldn't make it happen. So anytime you can give them more fill in the blanks of when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, and providing childcare, it's absolutely huge. And then finally, if you think about large groups, here's some opportunities there. And then with individual couples, you're sending them out on date nights. The other thing you can do at large groups, and even through these date nights, is you can point them back to other pieces of your ministry. So one of the things we're always really passionate about, and that is the small groups, that you want couples to be surrounded by other people, leaders and other couples who are for their marriage, who want their marriage to win. And that's what happens in small group. And for you, small groups could be happening in homes. It could be happening at Sunday school. It could be a short-term group. We know a lot of churches who say, hey, people aren't ready to commit to a 1 year, 18-month experience in a small group. But if it's a topical thing for 5-6 weeks, yes, we're in. And so what happens in those things, a lot of people that be so afraid of going to a small group, they don't want to go to someone's home. If you do home groups, they'll come to the church. They'll do 5 or 6 weeks. If it's a great curriculum, they have a great experience. There were some good people with some good leaders. And from there, they may go, I'm ready to ups or something longer term. But marriage is the perfect topic to do that. People are so interested in that. When you do a marriage series, your attendance goes up because everybody in the room cares about marriage. So many churches are so afraid to talk about marriage on Sunday morning. All you got to say is today we're talking about marriage because you either are married, you want to be married, someone you love dearly is married, or you're raising someone who will be married. You're raising a future husband and wife. So we've got these opportunities to create these things and to point things and to say, you know what, this is the only thing we do. We've got a system for you, or we've got next steps for you. And you could take those next steps slowly. But what happens a lot of times, if we do a one-time event at Valentine's Day and we don't have follow-up for it, I think sometimes we've created more chaos than we have connection, because it's it stirs things up. Even if it's a fun night, it can stir some things up. We need to let them know, as the leaders and the pastor of the church, hey, we're not going anywhere. This is why we're here week after week. We love you. We're here for you. We have things in place for you. And you're not the only one that may be struggling with their marriage. We say this all the time, that struggle is normal, but hope is available. So we need to say that over and over, and we need to be very strategic and very, very clear what we have for marriage. Because here's what I find with churches and websites and different things. A lot of times it is very hard to find the marriage offerings at people's church because there's not a category maybe on submenus for marriage, and sometimes their events are hidden. I was talking to a promoter the other day, and he was saying churches have a really, really hard time pumping and promoting marriage events. And I said, why? He said, because they don't really have a space to do that, or it's hard to get through, IT or whatever to get there. One of the things that we've watched happen is you can create your own Facebook page for just your church, that you can say, hey, here's what we have coming up. And here's why this is powerful, is people aren't getting up every day, logging on to your church website. But what are they logging on to almost every day? A lot of them. Facebook, Instagram. It's where they live. So if you go where they live and you take out little Facebook ads, that's another thing. Heather from Ohio, we just did an event with her, and she said one of the most powerful things for her to get attendance was to promote through Facebook. You get very, very specific for it. I mean, it's just a powerful way to do it. It's not that expensive. You can lock in how much you want to spend, but all to say, make sure they know what you have. And so if you have a one-night event, you point to that Facebook page, you show them where that's going to be. And it also allows a place and a spot for people to celebrate what's happening, for them to let you know. And it's, when you see good stories, people feel like, oh man, I wish we had gone to the date night. And stories, we just use that Facebook guilt for good instead of evil, right? And so this is a great place for you to be clear about your ministry. It's a great place to celebrate your ministry. And it's a great place to let them know what strategy that you have for your ministry. This was a story from Heather's church where they just did a one-night event. And I want to read this. And I thought it was powerful. Heather sent it to me after the event. And it comes from one of her leaders. And her leaders had invited a couple to their event. And this is the couple that they invited to the event. Actually, this is the wife. And the wife says to one of church attenders that had invited her to church. Does that make sense? Have I made sense to that, Robert? Robert says, yeah. So she says, no words can express the need for last night. A few weeks ago, I asked Mike for a divorce. So when you gave us tickets to the marriage event, I wasn't sure what to do. So I just asked him if he wanted to go. When he said yes, I was floored, and I took it as a sign. The message was amazing, and a friend had offered to watch the kids for free. We had so much fun. Just felt like it hit home when the speaker said, make tonight a fresh start. Hugs to you and your husband. Blessed to have you as friends. It says, love you. And she says, fresh start. That's what these events can be. And a lot of times we're not going to hear these stories. We're not going to know these stories, but they're happening. And so this, what these events allow us to do, these date nights allow us to do, we allow couples to connect in a cultural current that is going faster and faster. It's more kid-centric than ever. We get to be the one that pauses and said, hey, you remember you two that got together and said, we'll do life together forever. We get to do that as a church, and it's so, so powerful to do that. And with married people, that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do every single day. In fact, the reason we started Married People way back in the day is I was director of married life at North Point Church for 9 years. And because it was a large church, we had all these other churches saying, wow, it's really great that you guys can do this with your huge budget and your big staff. What do you have for us to help make this happen? Well, I didn't like the answer to that. I mean, we were a big church, but we were still a church. We weren't a resource company. And so I started praying through that. I felt like God kept putting that on my heart and said, I want to be able to have a great answer to that question. When a church says, what do you have to help us create an incredible marriage ministry? And we're 8 years in, almost 9 years in of answering that question. And we've listened to you and learned from you and taken surveys from you. And you have told us what you like. And you have told us what you do not like. We took a lot of guesses at first. We kind of messed that up. We thought, oh, we think we know what they want. And we didn't. What we found out is, my context was a really, really large church. And, I think it's 95% of churches are 200 and smaller. So I was thinking way too huge scale. And you guys taught us that. And so over the years, you've taught us what you want for small groups, what you want for large groups, what you want for individual couples. And that's where we've landed. And so I was telling Robert before this thing, I said, I really struggle with the idea of pumping product. I'm a pastor. I'm not a salesman. Our marketing people tell me that all the time. They're like, you're creating all this stuff. Don't be ashamed to share it. So I am unapologetically letting you know that we have created an annual partnership that gives you everything you need. And here's what it comes with. Everything you need to create 4 one-night events. And you could use that for a sermon series. You could use that for a retreat. And what comes in there, you get all the graphics. You get a host script. You get a game around the table. You get a game from up front. You get a message that you can just play on video. If you say our pastor doesn't want to speak or we don't have a speaker for this, you just push play on the video, and there you are. You say, no, we want to give our own messages. Great. Then we've given you one with a transcription or outline. You take it, you make it your own. The whole idea is for you to take this and you to tweak it and to make it your own. We don't care if you use 10% of it or you use 100% of it. We want it to help you get down the road. For some of you, you'll use it exactly like it is. For others of you, you'll make it your own. But it gives you everything you need, and we spend an insane amount of time and money trying to put this all together to make it easy for you, so you have a night that you're so proud of. Because our goal is for people to be driving away going, wow, look what our church did for us. Not some random company in Atlanta, but look what some church did for us. You'll get 4 one-night events. You get a new small group study every year. This year, we partnered with Shanti Felhan on a 30-day kindness challenge, and she made it just for married people. She is an author, a researcher, a Wall Street analyst. I mean, she's way smarter than the rest of us, and she created this thing, and she said, at the end of the day, I've done all this research, and kindness is the key to marriage. And so she created this great challenge. It's a lot of fun. She allowed us to video her, and then we put couples around it. And we always want to have diversity in that so that everybody feels like they can see themselves and they feel represented. So that's a part of it. The other piece of it is you get 4 date nights that we talked about earlier. These are 4 date nights that you can take and give to couples, or you can put them in gift bags, do all this fun stuff to that. We give you everything to promote everything that I've just said. The other thing you'll get is a once a month email that you will customize, and then you send it out as from you. Some churches, they just send it out just as. You run it through MailChimp, and off it goes. That's been a really powerful resource, and it's got different ways for them to hear the podcast and then to read the blog and all these different resources, again, that makes you the hero. And you get all of that. And we priced it in a way, whether if you use 20% or all of it, you feel good about that, because we know a lot of churches don't have a budget for marriage ministry. And we're just trying to make this as easy as possible and as inexpensive as possible. We want to give you, we're doing a Black Friday. I'm sorry, is it Black Friday or Cyber Monday or both? Both. So we're going to do a Cyber Monday sale and a Black Friday sale. We're going to give a code where you can get the whole annual strategy pack. What percent off is it? Okay, so 40% off. And what's the code, Robert?
Cyber Monday 18.
Cyber Monday 18. Cyber Monday 18. It's 40% off, and it's going to give you so much great stuff. And again, some people have seen it and they go, gosh, I feel like I'm not going to use any of this. We say, hey, if you use just a percentage of it, you're going to get your money's worth. It's really great stuff. We've got great people around it. We've got a organization full of millennials who are helping us create all this stuff. So we know that that's the largest generation right now. We know they're the tougher to sell. So we feel like we're marriage ministry 2.0. We know a lot of churches don't have a marriage ministry team. Most of them don't. So that's what we think about ourselves. Hey, we want to be your marriage ministry team. We've got Matt Ivy, who's on staff that talks to church leaders all the time. And we just want to help you. And you guys are helping each other, again, on Facebook leaders. But I hope that's helpful. Just know that what you're doing is making a difference. I know it's something extra. I know it lives in that important but not urgent category. But my friends, it is urgent. We can officially move into that box that marriage ministry is not only important, it's urgent. It's urgent. Needs to happen. We can do it. We can do it in a way that's relevant and fresh, and that will actually draw believers and non-believers to your church, because when your marriage is better, everything is better. But right now, we're going to take some time to answer a few questions. Do we have questions on here?
Yeah.
No questions? Any questions that you guys may have? We're going to stick around for a few minutes. For those of you who have to jump, again, it's Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday is the code.
Mm-hmm. It's in the chat.
It's in the chat. Okay. Cyber Monday 18. Cyber Monday 18. If you need to bounce, that's great. For the rest of you, we're going to hang around for a while and answer any questions. And of course, we're always available. Is it info@marriedpeople.com? You can on email, or Facebook Leaders is really the best way if you want to get in touch with us. It's so great. A lot of times you guys will post questions for us, and before we can answer them, leaders answer them and probably answer them better. So that's great too. But we love that. That's where we're doing life and doing community with you. So always here. We're going to keep doing this webinars if you guys find that they're helpful. Again, we want to help with the training piece and encouragement piece, and we really study marriage too. Really diving in. What's the latest trends? What's the latest stats? So I think we have a question. Okay.
Do you see them in yours or do you
I don't see them in mine unless you want to point them to me.
Yeah. So if you think we do Valentine's Day on Friday the 15th, guys don't get credit.
Oh, so the question is, so if we do Valentine's Day on the 15th, so do we think the guys don't get credit? Here's the thing: if that's your date, go for it. And you can probably just be really playful with that, and you could do a whole campaign where your church has officially changed Valentine's Day to the 15th, and you're going to celebrate it then. That guys, we love you so much. We're going to give you one more day to get ready. So you can just be playful with that. So, but it is important. And that's probably close enough if you're on the 15th.
How do you pick topics to discuss?
Well, that's one of the things that we want to help you do. So each year we'll have a theme. So this year our theme is game changers. So under game changers, we'll have the 4 large events. So we have one on money. We have one on conflict. We have one on, is it technology? And then Carlos Whitaker, one about conflict within yourself. So we pick some topics there. The other topics that we will pick is we will do the small group study. Like the topic is kindness. And with the date nights, we'll pick a topic for each of those. And so the other, we want to keep learning. We keep asking from couples, and we start research. What are couples? What is the thing that they're struggling with? What are the biggest topics? But we try to help you do that for sure.
So telling people about Valentine's Day, you tell the guys we got your backs. I'm always scared to imply that they don't know what they're doing.
Oh, that's really good. We've got your back. I'm always scared we're to imply that they don't know what they're doing. Great point. I think that I got your back thing is more, instead of saying you don't know what you're doing, is you're saying, I'm not going to beat you up relationally for not being like a woman. Like I'm not going to, because that's what happens a lot of times in marriage things is that men will get beaten up by another guy. I think here's the great thing. And when you saying that, I don't want them to think they know what you're doing. If you feel that concern, you go, guys, we know you know what you're doing. We know you know what you're doing, but we also know that there's not a lot of resources that are created out there or experiences for you to be able to do that. So we want to help you do that because we know you want to do something great. It's not in the tone of you guys are idiots. It is the thing of, hey, guys are part of this, because guys don't feel, a lot of times with marriage events, guys don't feel included. They feel invited. So this is the thing of a man standing up front and saying, hey guys, I'm one of you. I get it. So hopefully that's helpful. Which strategy pack? I got it.
Yeah. That one. Yeah.
With 30-day challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It is in this strategy pack. It's in Game Changers. It's Shanti Philhon's 30-day challenge.
So how do you help communications people understand the importance of marriage ministry?
Okay, show me, just hop right here just a minute. Show me where we are.
How do you help communications people understand the importance of marriage ministry?
How do you help communications people understand the importance of marriage ministry? And by communications people, I'm assuming you're meaning the people on your website, the people that are doing announcements. You know what? It's a tough one. It really is a tough one. We struggle with that a lot ourselves. And one of the things I would do is the more organized you get, the greater chances you'll get there. I always try to beat people to the calendar punch. You go in and you go, hey, we're having 4 events this year or 2. Here they are. Can we get on the list? You come with somebody in something, in January or at the end of December and saying, we're going to have 2 events next year. We're going to have one in February. We're going to have one in September. We're going to need some promotion. Do that. everything you can to be organized, to give them all the copy. Don't give them any excuses not to do that for you. Again, you can take some control of your own thing by doing the Facebooks and different things. You can become your own marketing people by Facebook, or building your own marriage list where and that's what Married People Monthly does too, is it allows you to build your list that you can communicate to them about other things. But yeah, it's tricky, but I think it's organizational is helpful. It says, I have a church that does message-based small groups. So using this great group content isn't an option. What other next steps do you think we could give after the event? Great question. So with small group, we get this a lot because a lot of churches are like, you know what? We're not going to mess with content. You just talk about the message, which I think is great. But one of the things you might could consider is you could we want to do a short-term study for 5 to 6 weeks on Sunday afternoons, or, whenever you pick that. I know that there's a lot of churches that I've talked to that's in this dilemma, is they'll ask for, let us do this, and we're going to do it 2, 3, 4 times a year where you can jump on at different times. And so if you can't do the small group, and the thing I love to do with large groups is point people to, hey, we have small groups, but this is where you also point them to, hey, and we're going to have a date night for you. So one of the things you may consider that is the dream for me is that you guys decide right now that you are going to create a calendar for 2019 that's got everything. We're going to have your date night. We're going to give you 4 date nights. List those months. We're going to have 2 events, 3 events. We're going to do it right here. We're going to here's content for you, or here's Married People Monthly. But I think it's showing them on a printed piece that this is how you do that. That's a great question. Joyce says, I'm a children's director, not part of a marriage ministry. I plan on using this as an event for families. Do you see a reason why I can't adapt this for my ministry because unhealthy marriages affects my ministry? Children's pastor, is this my business? I think if I'm reading that correctly. Well, I'll tell you, Joyce, and I'm wanting to jump up and down in my chair here, is most churches don't have a marriage person. They have somebody in their church, like the children's pastor, who is sick and tired of hearing stories of children's families being broken up, and your heart's broken. And I'm going to do something. One of our favorite leaders is that she's single, and she's the children's pastor. And she says that I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be attending because I know how much marriage impacts the life of a child. So no. You go, you knock it out. Because that's what's happening. And it's not, we've got people that do all kinds of things, from the pastor's assistant that's running the marriage ministry to the youth pastor to the children's pastor to the janitor. It is anybody that is passionate about marriage ministry. So good job with that. Let's see. How long is the Cyber Monday offer good for? That's a good question.
I'm adding to the chat right now.
Oh, okay.
It's until Cyber Monday.
Okay, Jessica says, all right, I'm going to let you respond to Jessica because how can I scroll back down? Because I know I missed some. I think I've got some down here. All right. Okay.
I think you've answered almost all of them. I missed to answer my question.
Strategy.
Will I be able to replay this message? Yes.
Will I be able to replay this message? Yes, you sure will. Okay. Okay. Yes. I think that is it. So again, it's Cyber Monday 18.
It's good until November 26th, which is Cyber Monday.
Okay. It's good to November 26th, which is Cyber Monday. So we wanted to give it to you guys early, just because I know it takes a while sometimes to approve certain things like this, but Cyber Monday is when it's over. But you guys can use the code now. You don't have to wait till then to use it. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, thanks for hanging out with us. Again, if you have any more questions, let us know. We hope this is helpful. Let us know what about this works on Facebook Leaders and what part didn't work, that you enjoyed, that you didn't enjoy. But we're here. We love you. We're here to help. We think marriages are, it's more important than ever. It's more important. What you do matters.
It's hard to pull the guys into marriage classes. Any tips on that? You want to let that be the last question?
Okay. Oh, yeah. One final question. All right, I'll take some more questions. I don't care. It says it's hard to get guys
into the marriage class. Any tips on that?
It's hard to get guys into the marriage class. Any tips on that? I wish I could show you on and you can see it on our website. If you go to the strategy pack details, we've got a guy on there called Small Things, and Small Things is a bodybuilder. But we do those kind of things on purpose because Small Things is a lot of fun. I think it's when you acknowledge where they are. Like if you say to them, hey, we got this great marriage event coming up, and here's what we've heard from you guys. We know you feel like it's going to be like therapy. You think you're going to get beaten up for not being a great husband. It's going to be like, you're sitting in the basement of the church doing a support group. Just say all those things and say up front. And one of the things, we kind of break a rule when it comes to marriage events and different things, in that we tell them exactly what we're going to do. A lot of people go, oh, don't ruin the surprise. You need to ruin the surprise because they don't want to come because they feel like all these things are going to happen. They're going to have to share things. They don't want to share it with strangers. You just say that out loud and tell them that's not what's going to happen. And they're like, oh, okay. And then any kind of promotion you do, keep it fun, keep it light, and then the stories of what you're doing starts helping. Like for us, our events, we had to start saying after probably our 5th event, the event will start in 10 minutes. Please find your seat. The event will start in 5 minutes. Please take your seat. And what was happening, the men were on in the room. So we're like, sit down. But you can start changing those things. But at first, you're going to feel the mountain of this thing. It's going to feel a little bit harder. The other thing too, get your pastor, the person that they come here every week, that they give money to the church. A lot of people, because they trust your pastor. If your pastor can support this, if your pastor can tell you it's going to be fun, if their pastor can tell them this, that goes a really, really long way. Here's a good one. Good. All right, it says, we like to do a date night bag each month. When yours are gone, we have to make up our own. It would be helpful to have an option for more date night bags. Yes, it would. There's more date nights on there if you haven't used them before, but yeah, I wish we could give 12. I wish we were that creative. But there's more date nights on there. But that's a good thing to know. We're in the middle of creating next year's strategy pack, and I will bring that note to the table. Thanks, Joyce.
You put a discount for a later date for those of us part of this webinar. It would take some time to get approval in my budget.
They will take someone saying, hey, can you hold off, and could you, with a coupon, if we get approval? I tell you what, do this, just contact us on Facebook Leaders and we'll figure something out. Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you for hanging out with us. This was very, very, very fun. Hopefully it was helpful. And always here for you, and let us know how we can help.